Hey y'all, how's it going? I'm trading the ES futures on a 2000 tick chart with a 21 EMA. So I've got the overnight high up here and the overnight low down here. These are our key levels for the day. So starting off, I started trading at 8 Central Time, which is around this area right here. Now starting off, we had these two legs down, started reversing after that. We push up here, that forms our overnight low right after two legs down. This is a great place to look for a reversal pattern higher, so a failed second entry. And we get that here. You have that first entry short, second entry short failure. But there is a problem with this entry right here. We already have these two legs higher met. So it's two legs up. The measured move has been met at this point, and you can expect a reversal back down after two measured legs up. Now, we only have one attempt to reverse back down here, so we can't just go long right after that. Some may say this EMA is holding after those two legs up, so this means it's okay to go long, but it's not. We only have one attempt to reverse from here. Ideally, with this second leg, say it had closed all the way up here. We had just, say it just rocketed up a little bit higher past the measured move, closed up here. It would have been a lot easier to get two clear legs down to the EMA, which would be two attempts to reverse, and then you can continue with this, reversal coming off the overnight low. But unfortunately, we don't get that, so we just have to skip it. I skipped it. Just not an ideal entry. Already got those two legs up, and then just a first entry, basically. But anyway, so pushing up higher here, we start getting a little bit sideways. We push over to the EMA. It's not a real setup here. It just kind of chops on over. We push on higher here off that EMA, so that's when I drew this, wider channel here, this channel possibility. I'm going to move this arrow just for a minute. So I drew this. We overshot. Now overshoots do lead to breaks, but we also had this other smaller trend line in place, so you don't want to go short right into that. But then here, it's closing above. You don't want to go short right into the overnight high. It's starting to get choppy anyway. And then here, notice how we've been chopping, and then we push out, and then we tick lower than that red bar and just push on higher. Now, some may get tricked into buying here because, when you're all zoomed in, it might look good, like, oh, okay, we're breaking out the lows of this range, we can fade back in. But of course, you are at the overnight high. So when it looks good to look for longs and shorts at the same time, it's best to just avoid everything and wait for price to push out of that area and get to a cleaner area. So there's nothing here, in my opinion. Once again, we push up, we get this first entry short. It's right into the overnight high. It's just a messy area, not very clear. So I just avoided everything here. And then we do push lower here. We attempt to fade back down, but then we end up breaking back out. Notice we have this leg up, break, and then second leg up. Of course, eventually that turns into much bigger picture legs, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So we push on out. We break out the overnight high. Now, at this point here, when we break out, I want to see two attempts to fade before buying with the breakout. Now, you can see here, like you push up, some may try to say, first attempt to fade, second attempt to fade here, but it didn't even reach the EMA, so I'm not going to be buying right there. But it does push higher here. It's kind of going a little bit sideways here. And then here we push below the EMA. And I do want to quickly point out, this channel, I started drawing this. And this right here was the third bounce. I still didn't like it though, because we have this new high. This right here is basically the breakout. Now, some may say, price action levels get bigger as more time goes on. So I just want to go through that really quick for those who might be new. At first, we push out of the overnight high. We have that first attempt to fade and then second attempt to fade. Now, that is a very small picture, and then when we push higher here, we can tell that this whole thing is one move up. So I view this as this whole thing right here as the breakout. So I basically view this as we break out, and then this whole leg down is the first attempt to fade. So you basically have to notice when the bigger picture structures are coming into play. You have to be dynamic about it. I just view this as one attempt to fade, rushing below the EMA, and then very much struggling to get back above. And then even when we close back above, once again, it was just one attempt to fade on a big picture. So I did not like that. And, since it kind of went sideways there, some may try to say that this is one leg and then this is the second leg. I just view this as one leg straight down. But anyway, if we had pushed higher and gotten a significant correction to give a lower high to where it's like a second leg down for this, then we could have gotten something, but unfortunately that doesn't happen for us. So we continue higher here. We get this correction, it doesn't reach the EMA, we have a new high, We have another correction, doesn't quite reach the EMA. We continue up higher. Excuse me. Excuse me. So here we break out of this range, or excuse me, this uptrend, not range. I've been confusing up the terms a lot lately for some reason while making these videos. We break out of this uptrend. Now it starts getting a little bit choppy here, but you can tell there's a couple attempts higher. We have another leg down right here, but on a big picture, this whole thing is just one leg down. We get a significant break, and we start making that second leg down. And now I just want to show here, for this long, we have this uptrend, break, first attempt higher, second attempt higher. Now this entry was basically on the continuation of this second attempt higher. Now imagine a higher time frame chart, because this, it has a lot of bars here, but on a higher time frame, this would just simply look like, a small trend up and a couple legs down, holding above the EMA. So I don't look at higher time frame chart anymore, but if you're new, trying to trade bigger picture, if you're on a 2,000 tick chart, maybe take a look at a 7,000 tick chart just to, kind of get used to seeing big picture stuff and seeing it on a more, granular level, I guess. But basically, all those bars pushing up right here on a big picture, or on a higher time frame chart, this will just look like a bullish bar pushing back above the EMA after a couple legs down. So I just want to point that out there for those who don't quite understand the big picture stuff. But basically, once again, uptrend, we have break, first attempt higher, second attempt higher. I only entered after it closed above the EMA because we do have this measured move down in play, and I was concerned about another attempt down, especially if you entered below that EMA. It could easily just bounce right off of it, push lower here. But we do have to consider this uptrend is a lot more significant than this downtrend that's trying to make a new low. So we have to stay with the overall trend, and then, when we had that little tick lower right there, that gave us an opportunity to enter, because I was thinking there could have been another attempt down, and so I just waited for it to get well above the EMA, and then also I almost forgot to mention here, we had this barely closing out of it right there. I was concerned it could bounce off this trend line, and right there, that's what I was really thinking. But then when we just ticked lower, pushed back above, stopping out the shorts who went short there, it's pretty clear that this uptrend is winning out. This has made a pretty clear double bottom, rush above. I really like this entry right here. But like I was saying, if you have a measured move going against it, you just got to make sure it's past these resistance levels. It could easily just bounce right off that, push on down to this measured move. So you got to wait for confirmation. But anyway, we push on higher here. We really just spike on up here. We start making that second leg, which I'd like to see how it reacts. I'm going to check back tomorrow, see how it reacts to that measured move, because measured moves are very important, whether it be very small ones like this or really huge ones for the whole day. They are very important. And so anyway, we push on up here. At this point, we have a new high. Uptrend has technically played out, and we have to be open to a reversal even before this measured move is met. Now, if the EMA keeps holding, then we can continue looking to buy towards that measured move, but you also have to be dynamic. When an uptrend has a break and a new high, you have to be open to a possible reversal back down. So just to be clear about that. Now here, this is where I took this loss right here. Now, notice we have, we made the new high. We have this first entry long, second entry long, and then I was viewing this as a higher low above above the second entry. Now this is a smaller picture higher low than I would usually take. Usually, I always say I don't care about little ticks, I care about structure breaks. Now, that's kind of where I allowed myself to break a rule, and then I instantly got burned. So I was thinking, we have two legs down, it's a second entry. We didn't get a clear signal bar or anything above the EMA on that second entry. And, considering the trend was played out at this point, I was not okay with entering into the EMA. It had to close above. And so I did not want to enter on this. But then here, even though it's a small picture lower high, it just ticks lower and pushes back above. I was thinking this, it still just looks like a continuation of this second entry. It could definitely be strong enough to reach the other side. But, and technically that was true. It was strong enough to reach the other side, but not before stopping out this bar right here. So it was a small picture entry, and then I used the small picture stop. If I could have found a way to enter a little bit lower and use the full stop for this second entry. I should have done that because this is the real move right here from this second entry long, not this tick lower, higher low. Like to me, you know, like I say, I like structure breaks, not just a tick lower. Notice when we break this trend line, this green trend line, we actually break it. To me, this is a higher low. Like I don't actually view this as a failed second entry because it's just to the tick. So I allowed myself to break a rule. You know, it really did seem significant enough to reach the other side of this, you know, possible range here. And I got burned for it. So it's also because I used the small picture stop. You know, a lot of times I'll use, you know, there will be a higher low and I'll put the stop under the higher low. But it's a big picture higher low. You know, it's a structure break, so I don't mind that. But this was a smaller picture one, and I still used that stop right there, so I got burned for it. But anyway, you see what I'm trying to say there. So I broke my rule and got burned, so it's good to stick to the rules. So anyway, we do push on up here. We don't get a short right here. We bounce off that upper trend line. We reach the EMA, and then we just continue higher. And so at this point, it's really looking bullish, but then when we rush below, we still have to be open to a possible reversal down. Of course, I do want to point out that we have this uptrend forming here. So anyway, we have this rush below. We have to be open to a reversal, and it could just blast on through this trend line and give a, you know, like say it breaks on through and gives two clear attempts higher. We could easily get a failure, and those two attempts would, you know, could act as playing out for this uptrend. It'll act as two attempts higher for this uptrend. I kind of worded that weird a second ago. But basically, we have one sharp move down. Even though it's off the key entry point, this is just one leg down. I see that there's a tick higher there, but once again, this clearly fits pretty clean inside of this trend right here. So I just view this as one leg down. I would want to see a nice rush above and then a clear pullback. So I don't like this higher low either. I just view this downtrend break, one attempt at a new low, and it's a pretty insignificant attempt. But then here we do get this second entry, but the trend line is starting to break. It's below the EMA. I don't like this, unfortunately, but you know, say it closed above. I think I would like to get out before this right here because it's clearly reacting from this swing. We made this swing. It's clearly reacting here and then pushing below the EMA. So if we had gotten back above, I think it'd, you know, look good with a limit order. But once again, if it closes back above, this is clearly starting to stall in this area here, once again, with that rejection right there. But anyway, that's really it for the video. We pushed up since then. But yeah, that's really going to do it for this video. Hope it helped out in some way. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.